So according to Curtis King's latest video, Timbaland just got caught stealing more music. Curtis King interviewed K-Fresh, who Timbaland recently apologized to for taking a beat without his permission and using it to train and create a derivative work, which is effectively just a copy of his beat, as a tool to promote Suno. More on this, but he also, Curtis King, also recently interviewed Zara Scully, I think I'm saying her name right, who famously accused Timbaland of training his infamous AI artist Tata on her entire voice, vocal styling, songwriting style, etc. And she revealed a lot more about what went down. Now, let's just watch this shorter version that Curtis King posted to Instagram Reels.
Woo! Jack, this is what you call greatness.
And that was the first time I ever played it for anybody, was on that live. He was so excited about my music, and he said he prayed to God about me, and I was right under his nose the whole time because I had known him for years. He put this song Suspicions into his AI, which is Baby Timbo. On the next day, on March 8th, calling me, being like, I changed your voice, like I had a different accent, like I was a man at some point. And he was having fun. And at first I was like, this is cool. Like I didn't realize the whole weight of it all,
This is something that you granted him permission to do?
I didn't really understand anything. I was just excited to be on FaceTime.
So she didn't really answer the question. So it sounds like maybe she did grant him permission, or maybe she just didn't explicitly grant him permission and he didn't explicitly ask. I think either scenario is equally plausible. The unfortunate thing is, I think most people are going to assume that Timbaland just did it without permission, since that's what he did with K-Fresh so brazenly. I mean, he filmed himself doing it and then walked it back and apologized later. I don't know if he's going to apologize for this. I don't want to speculate. Timbaland is getting dogpiled enough. I don't need to add more shit to the heap. But I do remember bringing this up on the podcast, and my co-host did not believe her. So I don't know if now she's more credible. The connection is clear that there is at some point some connection between her and Timbaland. They're working together. She's sending music to him. He's incredibly invested, at least emotionally, in her music, according to him.
So this is actually the woman who has been writing this stuff for this pop star.
Like I've been writing for his AI. He'll send me a beat for me to pen and sing on my Logic, and then I send it to him and he has AI sing it. I'm always asking him, like, can I just sing it? Like, I sound good.
Anybody can make any claims.
So I don't know if she's building credibility for her case. I don't really want to get into who we believe and who we don't. But the fact that there is this possibility that there wasn't consent is always the problem with AI. It's always been the problem with AI. The whole basis of the music business is intellectual property law. The reason any of us are able to make money off of the music business is because of the intellectual property that we own. And copyright law dictates ownership. So whatever songs she wrote herself and recorded herself, she would own 100% of. And so when she sends that to Timbaland and he feeds that into Suno and creates a derivative work, well, then he would need some kind of clearance, some kind of permission from her. I need to talk to a lawyer. I'm going to have Ryan Schmidt on. Ryan Schmidt actually represented K-Fresh and pressured Timbaland's legal team to write that public apology. I want to know from the singer herself, it very directly, did she grant permission? Did she do it unknowingly? Because I understand the excitement factor. I think we've all been there, or we could see ourselves there, where we're working with one of our idols, and Timbaland is an idol to many of us, myself included. So you could imagine being super excited and just saying, yeah, do whatever you want, and you just hope that the excitement of the situation doesn't cloud your judgment, and it often does, and especially with emerging technologies that Timbaland himself doesn't seem to understand. I mean, why else would he get in front of a camera and record himself taking a K-Fresh beat without crediting him and then just blatantly creating, this copy of it? Why would he do that? I don't know. There's a lot going on. I don't understand half of what he's doing. And I don't think the defenders of AI, the AI apologists who will die on that hill, really understand what they're defending either, and how this stuff works. All right, this video is kind of depressing because we're talking about all this ugly shit. So head over to the Discord. I have a private Discord. We collab on beats all the time. I post beat collab ideas. I'm about to drop a sample pack. So if you join the Patreon and you're one of the 2 higher tiers, you get all my sample packs for free. All my drum kits, the drum kit that I'm going to drop this summer as well. You're going to have that for free. I'm going to post that and you'll have access to it. Shout out to all the Patreon members. Appreciate all of you. This is still new. This is like month 3. So get in on the ground floor. It's a small community. I want to keep it that way. No spam, nothing like that. We just work, we make music, we talk to each other about the music business. Patreon.com/DJPain1. Hope to see you in the Discord. But, you know, this is very similar to the K-Fresh situation. It's just a little more subtle, and there was actual contact between him and this singer-songwriter, whereas I believe with the K-Fresh situation, there was no contact. Timbaland just found that on TikTok and brought it into the AI. What Zara Scully is alleging is that Timbaland created entire models based off of her voice. And this was my concern with the manager who called me a loser and a bitch and all this stuff because I dared question the legality of these AI training models. And the problem was, and you know, this particular manager manages an amazing songwriter with a huge catalog. Suno has admitted to training their work on any music available on the open internet. His music is definitely on the open internet. YouTube is part of the open internet. We're not quite sure if Spotify is on the open internet or if that's considered the open internet based on the technical language that Suno and Mikey Schulman, the CEO of Suno, is using to try to cover their ass. But if your music is on the internet, it's likely on YouTube. You've uploaded it through the distributors, it goes to YouTube automatically. Suno can train on that. They probably have, according to them. So anybody's catalog, I mean, you could take T-Pain's entire catalog. Let's use a real world example. You could take T-Pain's entire catalog, hundreds of songs that he's written for himself and for other artists, you know, put in the Chris Brown records that he's written. He had groups before, put in all their songs and create a T-Pain writing model, an AI that writes like T-Pain, that sounds like T-Pain, that has all of these subtle nuances of T-Pain as a singer, as a songwriter, the lyrics, everything. And you can just crank out T-Pain records without ever paying T-Pain, without ever asking for permission from T-Pain. I'm still shocked that people don't find this fucked up and that there are people still in the comments talking about, well, this is revolutionary. What are you talking? This is the greatest thing ever. Why are you mad? Let people do what they do. And you know what? I got to come with evidence of my own. These are Suno. Oh, no, actually, these are Udio prompts. Udio is another AI platform that is being sued by the RIAA. That lawsuit might be dropped. I'm guessing it probably will be dropped and the labels will take control of these AI platforms. But when I was using it, I'm going to show you 2 examples. I tried using it just to generate some stuff and listen to what came out. That's Young Thug. You can't tell me that's not Young Thug. How about this? Who is this?
He gon' fuck with me to piss off his baby mama. Every time I drop into the flow, I bet your man watching.
You know goddamn well who that is. That's Beyonce. The vocal inflections, the singing styles, the cadences, the rhythms, those are recognizable voices. I did not put in Beyonce. I did not put in Young Thug. This is what the platform automatically spat out.
That was so inspiring to me. Why would I ever use AI when I have this? I have life. Diane Warren wrote, I don't want to miss a thing. Oh my God, what a fucking incredible song.
And then Diane Warren went on to take all of Tank's equity. We did an episode about that. I actually don't know why I had that section of the video queued up. What I want to transition back to is the K-Fresh situation, because a lot of producers are leaving comments to the effect that K-Fresh should feel lucky that now he's gotten free promo. Producers are saying this. I mean, when rappers steal our beats and publish them and we're upset and they say, oh, you've got free promo, what do we do? Send them a fruit basket? No, we're upset. So why is this any different? So this is another question for a lawyer, but I'm pretty confident when I say this whole Timbaland didn't profit from taking K-Fresh's beat. K-Fresh got free promo. That narrative is ridiculous. Yes, Timbaland used K-Fresh's beat to show off the capabilities of Suno. What is that called? That's a commercial. When you advertise a product and show its capabilities, that's a commercial. Let me explain what that means. Let's go back to that chart. Look at this. Sync, sync. on both sides of the IP coin. Both the underlying composition and the sound recording, the master recording, both pay out when a song is synchronized. What synchronization means is adding audio to video, synchronizing video together with audio, typically for a commercial, a film, a television show, that kind of thing. What did Timbaland accomplished by using K-Fresh's track without his permission to show off Suno's capabilities? He advertised Suno. It was a commercial for Suno. Suno is worth at least $500 million. That was a valuation from last year. So the value has probably grown. So K-Fresh's beat was effectively used in a commercial to advertise a business that's worth $500 million. $500 million is about as much as Chrome Heart clothing is worth. And if they approached me, if they approached you to take one of our beats and put it in a commercial for their clothing company, they would need to pay. This is a synchronization license, a sync license. So it would appear that Suno, I'm not even going to say Timbaland's name because he doesn't own Suno. Suno got free advertising. They got a free sync license because they just took a track to advertise their product to increase more revenue for a company that's already valued around $500 million, if not more. Any producer that is cool with this is just one of these happy to be here types. And these happy to be here types are pathetic. This is the music business. Intellectual property runs the music business. And we're walking around celebrating when one of our own gets their copyright infringed on and not paid to advertise a company owned by a cultural outsider, and that company is worth more money than Taylor Swift spent to buy her catalog back. This is not how business works. This doesn't make sense in any other business world, any other sector. We don't know if Tata was trained. Tata is Timbaland's AI artist. We don't know if that was trained on Zara Scully's vocals. But he was feeding it into Suno, according to Zara Scully. And we don't really have to use Zara Scully as an example anyway, because I just showed you examples of Udio's output. So these AI platforms are certainly creating models based on existing artists, their vocal stylings, their voices, essentially identity theft, musical identity theft. But what should worry people, and somebody in the comments, this is another question for the lawyers, so stay tuned. I swear this is going to happen. This conversation is going to happen. But when I read Suno's terms of service, there's just kind of vague legalese here. It says, this part here, it has to do with, you can upload whatever you want to Suno and it'll create a derivative work. And of course, they claim that you're not supposed to upload materials that you don't own 100% of. Timbaland did it, so why can't everyone else do it, right? That's part of the harm of what he did. No other licenses, permissions, consents, or authorizations must be obtained from or payments made to any other person or entity by us or any third party deriving any rights or obligations from us. This is just them covering their ass. Arising out of or related to our use of your submissions, including to create your output and or, this is the crazy part, to train, develop, fine-tune, or otherwise improve the service. So I think, and this is, I apologize. In a previous video that I made, I just Googled it, and the first thing that came up said Suno does not use user-generated uploads to train their system, their AI system. So if I were to go on Suno and upload a J Cactus beat or a bunch of J Cactus beats, I wouldn't be feeding the overall Suno system J Cactus beats so that now they know how to duplicate J Cactus style. I think I was wrong. Someone in the comments checked me on that and said, no, you're wrong, read the terms. So I looked at the terms, I fine-tooth combed it. I know my intellectual limits. Legalese is intentionally meant to be confusing, but it sounds to me, this is my interpretation of this line, it sounds to me like Suno is saying, we're not responsible and we don't owe anybody shit if you submit music to us and we digest it into the system and use it to train our system. We can do that. We're not saying we are training on the music that you upload, but we can do that. That's my interpretation of this, and that's terrifying. But here's another thing that I don't understand. No one has brought this up. No video I've seen has brought this up, and it's weird because with the Beyonce examples, with the Zara Scully examples, this should be coming up a lot more, and it's the Elvis Presley, I think it's called the Elvis It's called the Elvis Act. So, and now I'm not going to trust these AI overviews. Let's go to Wikipedia. I guess that's a little more trustworthy. I don't know. So this is a pretty recent bit of legislation that came out in 2023, and it has to do with audio deep fakes related to artificial intelligence. And that's essentially what this is. The Suno can create audio deepfakes. Udio is creating audio that Young Thug deepfake. That was weird. The RIAA, who was suing Suno and Udio, lobbied for this act. A whole bunch of groups lobbied for this act. Look at this. And of course, OpenAI, Google, and Amazon, they want to own us all and replace us. They opposed this act. It did pass, but ultimately what it does is prohibits usage of AI to clone the voice of an artist without consent, and it can be criminally enforced as a Class A misdemeanor. So why hasn't anything happened? It's very clear that this act is being violated left and right by these platforms. I guess, and this is me being pessimistic, but it also realistic. Go to my last videos for evidence of this, or just Google it because it's in the news. But the RIAA, the same group, this is one example, the same group that helped the Elvis Act get passed so that AI platforms could be criminally charged for stealing the voices of existing artists without consent, which they're clearly doing. This is the same organization that is suing generative AI platforms such as Suno and Udio. And they may drop the lawsuit. So they have all this leverage. It's almost as though they were playing 4D chess here. It's like they create all this legislation, back these AI platforms into a corner, and then say, you know what? We'll drop these lawsuits. Things aren't looking good for these AI platforms. We will drop these lawsuits if you just hand over the control to Universal Music Group or any of the big three labels, so that the big three labels can now control that. Now they can feed their own catalogs into these AI platforms and they can make money off it the same way they sued the shit out of Napster until Napster was gone, and then said, all right, streaming's here. We're going to put the same kind of pressure on evil ass Spotify and Apple Music and all that. And there's a reason why, after the labels put all that pressure on these streaming platforms, that we have this. This is from a Billboard article entitled Who Gets Paid for a Stream? By Glenn Peoples. And here's this chart. And this is the result of that pressure that the labels, who own vast catalogs of recorded music, this is why the labels own 80% or control 80% of total streaming revenue. So for every dollar that gets paid out for streaming, labels get 80% of it. They keep this amount, they pay this amount to the artist. Producers get something somewhere with our little 3 to 5 points. So ultimately it's about money, it's about control. It's about controlling the money. And I was planning on making a longer video, but this is enough. I'm exhausted just talking about this stuff. What do you think is going to happen with the lawsuit? What is the future of the music business? Do we think that the labels are going to just screw their own artists over and start creating models without their artist consent? Will each individual artist in their roster have to sign new contracts? Or will they find a way to retrofit it the same way that they turned mechanical royalties, which used to refer to player piano reels, into streaming royalties, the way the music business always does? They're resistant to change, and they don't like negotiating with artists. They just like acting and doing whatever the hell they want. Let me know what you think. Are you more optimistic than I am? Because I'm feeling like this is a pretty dark time and the outcome's looking kind of bleak.